Hello and welcome. I'm Casey, and in this video, we're going to be talking about how to help children calm the central nervous system. And you've probably heard terms like fight or flight and rest and digest mode, and these are referring to our body's natural response systems to stress. So whether you're an adult or a child, stress affects us all. And the important thing when we're trying to connect with little people is that they don't yet have the same tools, knowledge, information that we have in managing their stress. They also don't have a fully developed prefrontal cortex. So this is the part of the brain that is responsible for upper level thinking. So planning ahead, rationalizing, anything to do with logic. That stuff is very much under construction until they're much older. So we need to cut them a little slack and also lead by example. I don't know if you've noticed this, but with kids, it doesn't generally work, the approach of do as I say, not as I do. We really need to be modeling behaviors that teach them how to regulate the nervous system. So in this video, I'm going to share with you a few techniques that can help kids calm down, especially when they're feeling intense emotions or hyperactivity. And these are games and exercises you can do at strategic times throughout your day. My recommendation is after recess or play period, after doing something very engaging that's full of energy and they might be very excited, doing these activities to help them regulate their system into that rest and digest mode, which is much easier place. There's a fly. I'm just going to leave that. It's a much easier place to work with children if you're trying to do some kind of learning or group project or just connection. So moving into the practice, I have another tool for you today. It's a card deck for ages 4 to 104. It's Mindful Kids, 50 Mindfulness Activities for Kindness, Focus, and Calm. And we're going to do a few of these activities and some other ones that I know work, having worked with kids in the past. And they also work for you, the adult. And as I said in the very first video in this series, it's very important that we do practice these exercises on our own, apart from the kids, so that when we go to share them, they're coming from an authentic place. We know they work because we use them. We can share personal stories as we connect with the children and so forth. So please, for your own benefit, for your own nervous system, try some of these techniques with me today in this video. Follow along the best you can, and then also go on to share them with your students or children. All right, let's start with the first practice. You might want to grab a teddy bear or a pillow for this one. See you on the mat. Okay, so this exercise is called tummy rides, and it works really great with littler kids, ages 2 to 4, 5, 6, depending on the child. You can go older. It works great for adults too. Instead of using a teddy bear or stuffed animal, I would use a weighted rice bag or a bag of beans, anything you got that's heavy that you can place on your stomach. So we're gonna lie down, and you can have the kids lay down flat on their back like this, or you can even have the knees bent. With the knees bent, you're getting the lower back connected to the floor. So if you have low back issues, this is great for adults who struggle with lumbar issues. You can rest your knees together with your feet wide apart. That's also nice and restorative. However the legs are, you start to center your little buddy on your belly. And as you breathe in, your buddy lifts up, and as you breathe out, he lowers down. So the kids automatically get a sense that little bear's going on a ride. And as they get comfortable with it, you can help them count as you breathe in to, you can count as you breathe. Breathe in 2, 1, out. 2, 1, in. 2, 1, out. 2, 1. And you want to set the timing of this practice to be about 1 minute to 5 minutes, depending on the kids and their attention span. And if they're very wiggly or they have lots to say, you can get playful with it. One thing you can do from here is to hug your knees around the teddy and rock a sort of modified child's pose or a happy baby pose. You can even grab the feet and do a full happy baby pose. Taking your little bear friend on a different kind of ride. You can put the bear on the knees. And this doesn't have to be bear. Any stuffy that they're into, and rock them this way. All of these poses help to regulate and calm the nervous system, especially if we're training them to do the deep breathing. Inhale, 2, 1, exhale, 2, 1. As you come out of the stretch, my favorite way to transition is doing rocking chair. So again, holding the bear here and rocking. We sometimes call it spinal roll, egg rolls, rocking chair, but you come up slowly like that. And it's key to have fun with it, of course, but having the stuffed animal and doing the deep belly breathing, making it playful, helps the kids to get a sense of safety from the practice as well as calming the nervous system. So try tummy rides and let me know how it goes. Action. All right, so let's explore some movements, some postures that we can do to help kids calm down after some high energy activities. So this is a way to keep them moving, but also to start working on the skills of mindfulness, mindful breathing, mindful moving, and a few yoga postures. So we'll start off here in tabletop position. You can talk to them about, a table is strong, has 4 legs, push into your hands and knees here. You can talk about your flat back. So a table doesn't look like this or like this. A table looks like this. And just becoming aware of the body in those ways. So there's tabletop position where we start. Taking a breath in, press your hands hard into the mat, and on the breath out, we're going to lift our hips and bring the head towards the knees into a downward dog. Kids are actually better at this pose usually than adults, so you'll have no problem getting them into this shape. Now the key here is to encourage them to start to find stillness. See if they can be steady. See if they can find the shape of a triangle here. Depending on their age and interest, you can show pictures of triangles before you do the pose. And taking slow, deep breaths here. It's a simple transition back to tabletop, just bringing the knees down. See if you can go in slow motion. That's a fun thing you can try, is have a sort of imaginary remote control and talk about being in slow-mo versus normal speed. So going from tabletop now, and this is a really good one for regulating the nervous system, coming into a child's pose. So walking the hands out, bringing the hips low, the head down, spending some time just breathing here with them. And if you're practicing this with me, you want to feel your belly press into your thighs as you breathe in. And feel the breath leaving the body nice and slow and easy, relaxing the lower back, relaxing the hips. And as we come out of the pose, we can inhale back to that tabletop, again, that flat back. And we can start to play with, and this is another one that kids just love, cat pose and cow pose. We call it cat pose because it reminds us of a hissing cat arching its back. And cow pose, we think about a sway back old cow. So exhaling here in cat, maybe making a hissing sound. Inhaling here in cow, you can encourage them to make cow sounds. Moving back and forth, but in that slow motion. And you can take your slow-mo remote back out and trick them into going even slower. And then we can just play with those poses in any order we like. We can go from cow to cat to dog to child's pose. And we can start to just build this little calming sequence. The slower the better. Awareness on the breath as much as we can, just reminding them to be in touch with the breath, to feel the shape of their bodies, to notice if something is hurting or feeling tense or tight, and encouraging them to find ways to relax, find ease, slow down. And after a sequence like this, you can spend as long as you like. My recommendation with that combination of postures would be anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. And following that with one of the breathing activities or a relaxation activity. Relaxation with kids can look a lot of ways. You just invite them to lay down in any position that's comfortable. So sometimes kids really like to lay on their sides and they kind of rock their bodies. If they're not perfectly still, that's okay, because even though they're not perfectly still like you would see adults practicing relaxation, they may still be getting the calming that they need. And that rocking can be very reminiscent of the way our parents rocked us when we were very small. So let them rock and wiggle. You can try bound angle or butterfly with the feet together and the knees open. Kids like to do this one. But just encouraging them to rest on their back for a few minutes or on their sides. Tummy is another excellent position, letting them rest on the belly. I encourage to putting your head on top of the hands and adding that little rocking sensation there. Spending at least 1 minute of the time after you practice, just letting them unwind. And if you have a singing bell or another sound device, a chime or something like that, you can use that tool and basically have them lie still and quiet until they can no longer hear the sound. And that's another technique, just sort of stretching that moment of quiet and rest. So again, try these on your own a bunch of times before you share them with the kids. Enjoy the practice and make it your own. When it comes to calming down the nervous system, breath is key. Breath can also be used to bring our energy up, but in this video, we're focusing more on bringing the energy level down. And one very simple practice that we can start with is coherent breath or heart belly breathing. And you can name it, you can have your kids name it, whatever you want, but the basic technique is a 2-part focus, 1 part on the belly, 1 part on the chest or heart. You explain to them that on the inhale, you want to fill the belly and then fill the heart. And on the exhale, you want to empty the chest, empty the belly. And you use the language that really connects with your children to get them into that habit of breathing first into the belly and filling all the way up to the chest and back out. Try that yourself for 5 rounds of breath here. Sitting with a straight back, Relaxing the shoulders, letting your jaw slacken, closing the eyes. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Belly, then heart. Exhale, heart, then belly. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Exhale. And then return to a more wakeful state. So if it's very hard to get the kids even to do that, or you're looking for something to help build focus, another breathing technique or activity is called feather dancing. So all you need is a little crafting feather, preferably one with lots of fuzzy edges. The fuzzier, the better. So with feather dancing, you explain to the children, we're going to make this feather dance. Hold on tight to your feather. Bring it close but not too close to your face. Close but not too close. Take a big breath in and blow out slowly, making the feather dance. Challenge them to make the feather dance for as long as they can, really stretching that exhale. It really trains them to empty the lungs fully and to focus on one thing. That's a big part of yoga and mindfulness, is just the ability to be fully present with just one thing. I used to brag about my ability to multitask. And in recent years, I've realized that is not a bragging point. We really, as humans, need to work on the skill of focusing on one thing at a time. It is so much better for our mental and emotional well-being to just be present with one thing at a time. So this activity, this simple feather breathing, feather dancing activity, can help us as adults practice that skill of being present with one thing, and it helps the kids in so many ways, and it's fun. And I invite you to engage them further with the feather, be creative with the feather. One of the things we recently did with some of my classes was see if we could make it float, laying down and breathing and catching the feather. There it goes. That was a big hit. Then, doing sensory activities with the feathers, stroking your body with the feather, noticing how it feels. And then, some of my students naturally gravitated towards a more partner experience where they were sitting face to face and brushing each other with their feathers, with consent, of course. And this is where yoga and mindfulness practices with kids really rules, because we get to talk about things like consent in a very positive way. Like, oh, I really do like it when you touch me on my nose with that feather. Go ahead and do that for me. So feel free to take this one step further and make it really authentic and fun and creative in your classroom or home setting. This activity comes from the Mindful Kids deck. It's called the Happy Hum. And with happy humming, we start with our backs straight. We want to sit mindfully, nice and tall, and close our eyes. And we just want to hum a little bit until we find a note we like. So it might look like this. Hmm. Once you find the tone you like, you can begin to breathe in And breathe out, humming your tone long and full. Place your hands together at your chest. You can press them into your body like this, or together here with your thumbs connected to the chest. And with your hands, just notice the vibration happening as you hum. You might allow a little bit of a smile to come to the face, or practice smiling for no reason as you do this. It's supposed to be a happy hum. And let the humming send calm to your heart. So imagine that the humming is vibrating your chest in a way that relaxes your heart. You can do this as many times for as long as you like. But before you end the exercise, sit mindfully with a straight spine and take 3 soft, slow, mindful breaths. And then you're ready to carry on with your day. Where's my clapping?